Spent the first half of the day out with the commercial lobster fishermen, and they were pulling up quite a few lionfish in their traps.
Lionfish are causing a huge strain on the Florida fishing industry. They're devouring other fish populations and breeding year-round.
Now, I'm going to get a chance to strap on some tanks and get down and see the lionfish in the water, in a habitat that they have invaded and don't belong in. But we'll get to see what they look like down there and probably bring up a few samples to analyze here on the boat.
So basically there are going to be two different ways we can collect these lionfish.
Today we're diving with Ladd Atkins from Reef, an ocean conservation organization. He's been a leader in the fight against these fish since 2006.
Eradication is really not on the table right now. It's just too widespread. The lionfish depth goes from the shoreline to over 1,000 feet deep. We're talking all of the Caribbean, Western Atlantic, and Gulf of Mexico. The first record we know of is 1985, and that's off Southeast Florida. And it was really limited to just a few sightings in the 80s and early 90s. And it wasn't until about 2000 that we started to see an expansion up the east coast of the U.S. And then 2004 in the Bahamas. And I would say about 2007, it was almost like an explosion.
Yeah.
And they just started showing up everywhere.
Wow. Well, Ladd, it's quite a haul we have here.
That is, for a pretty short dive and just a few people collecting, we certainly brought a lot of lionfish up.
So what kind of impacts are these fish beginning to have? What is the apparent impacts, at least?
Well, what we found through stomach analysis and looking at fish that have been collected and seeing what they're eating is that they're consuming a wide variety of prey. They're not targeting one or two things. They're eating almost anything that fits in their mouth. A lionfish can consume prey in excess of half its own body size, so they can take quite large prey.
Paint the picture for me. What's the worst case scenario? What scares you?
I hate worst case scenarios. I'm an optimist, but potential impacts of lionfish could result in major shifts in the ecology of our Caribbean and Western Atlantic reef areas. They could result in extinctions of some species of fish due to lionfish predation. Eventually something's got to give. I mean, lionfish are going to reach a point where there's not enough food out there to sustain them. These are already very impacted systems, both from a fishery standpoint as well as a coral reef standpoint.
So this is the ultimate insult on top of injury.
It's throwing another impact into the mix, one we hadn't planned on, one that's caught a lot of people by surprise, and now people are scrambling trying to figure out what to do about it.
Now, there are various methods of combating invasive species, and this particular establishment has mastered one of them. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
And you are?
I'm Michelle.
Michelle, very nice to meet you. Philippe Cousteau, pleasure. Thank you for welcoming us into your restaurant.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Michelle has invited us to the Fish House Encore today.
And we have our pan sauté line. Oh, yes.
It's one of the few restaurants in the area that actually serves lionfish on the menu.
We've been serving them on the menu for about a year and a half, and we brought this in just to educate our customers so they know what they're eating, what they're doing to the reef, and just so they can understand a little more. There's a little bit of a fear factor of people eating them. Once they know that the flesh has no poison, then they kind of, they're okay with it and want to try it, and we're putting it on the menu to try to get them off the reef and try to get everybody to actually like them and enjoy them.
Oh my God.
If they can get more people to eat this invasive species, it will entice fishermen to get them out of the ocean and onto people's plates.
Right. So this is where the magic happens.
This is where Chef Peter comes in. He creates all of the lionfish dishes here.
Very nice to meet you, Peter.
Peter has to be very careful when filleting the fish, since he can still get stung from the venomous spines. But once it's cooked, that won't be a problem.
Wow.
This is a big problem.
Indeed. So ceviche, sushi, fried,
Sashimi,
filleted, deep
any
fried. Any way
you want.
you like it, Lionfish can do it.
And of course, we couldn't just take Peter's word for it. We needed to try it for ourselves.
Well, here we are with some lionfish. That's about as far as I'm going to go. Since I am allergic to seafood, I'm not going to eat any of this lionfish, even though it does look absolutely fantastic. But our fearless leader and producer, Amanda, is going to sit in for me and, or at least join me to taste this. What do you think?
It's delicious.
Now, no pressure that the chef is sitting literally right behind you.
I'm going to get in on this too.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rich, our cameraman. So which one are you going to taste?
I'm going to try them all. They're all very good.
Trying to eradicate invasive species, no matter what the method, is an uphill battle that takes the dedication of both governments and communities. Each species we've just shown you could end up costing Florida billions of dollars. And as more invasive species find their way to every corner of our Earth, we need to remember how something that seems harmless can have a devastating, lasting impact on global ecosystems and economies.